This is a story of Beauty and the Beast. You can read along with me in your book. You will know it is time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this. The beast dragged Maurice